Welcome, YouTube Janta, and today we are live with Punit Chawla, who is a designer from India. Whoa! He's going to tell us about how to be a UX designer without a degree, which is super awesome. These days, you don't really need a degree for anything, and Punit Chawla has done it. So we're going to learn some tricks from him, and he's also going to tell us what he'll tell himself when he was younger at the point that he's now. So Punit Chawla, take the stage.
Man, thanks for inviting me. There are like these really two questions, really interesting two questions that you asked. Um, which is one is becoming a UX designer without a degree, and the second one is what I would tell myself if I was younger, or my younger self in that case. To be honest, the second question is something that it doesn't apply to me. There are a lot of people who will try and come up with a an answer so as to fill in the blanks. But to be honest, I love that I made the mistakes I made. I did what I had to do then, and it was because I had limited resources, I had limited knowledge, I had limited experience. But it was all so much fun at the end of the day. Even when I failed, even when I came back home from a client meeting, or it could just be a generic chat I was having with a potential client back then, and uh, even if I didn't grab the client, I still enjoyed. I still enjoyed communicating with that one person, because I tried to take as much information, as much you know learning from that one person, that it was all worth it. And at the end of the day, man, if you don't make the mistakes that you're supposed to make, you're going to end up somewhere you aren't supposed to be. So I think, man, whatever I did, I'm happy I did it, and I wouldn't like to turn back time or tell my younger self anything, because whatever my younger self was doing, even though that wasn't 20, 30 years ago, um, I think he would be happy that he made the mistakes so that he can come here to where I am now. And I'm very blessed to be at the position I am right now, and I would definitely want to keep on going forward from here. Um, that is like my 2 cents on what I would tell myself, which is definitely nothing. I would say, keep on doing what you're doing. That's it. Um, Apart from that, the second question which is on the board is, um, being a UX designer without a degree. And it's quite controversial, because everybody gives you a different answer. You know, and people think there is one right answer, but technically there is no right answer to this question. It's very subjective to everybody's separate journeys. There are some people who might be very talented in a certain field of design, or they might need a lot of help. There are certain people who are talented and they can just grab grab a small course or grab a book and learn everything from that one book. But when it comes to a degree, there are a lot of people who value it. It's not just if the does the industry value it or not. It's more like, okay, do I value it or not? Because a lot of people get a satisfaction, get this encouragement from getting a degree, that without getting a degree they would always feel this situation of, hey, I wish I could have done a degree so I would be in a better position now. So to avoid that, a lot of people do take a degree, and that's more psychological and more personal than I think anything else. Apart from that, I think a degree is great, because if you are going to college anyways, it's better you just get a design degree if you're wanting to become a UX designer. So I think that goes without saying, that you should, a degree is always helpful in some way or the other. I mean, even if you learned something from it which you wouldn't learn from anywhere else, maybe that gives you enough value to say, hey, it's good I went for a degree, And to be honest, I went into I went into a tech degree. I did Bachelor's of Science in Information Technology, which in India is uh, it's like it's like it's like doing a major in arts. It's not really looked up at, that you're doing. Most people look at BTech, which is Bachelor of Technology here in India. If you're going into computers and things like that, BTech is like the thing to do. BSc IT is like, so BTech students, when they don't get into BTech because they couldn't fill up the exam or they flunked in the exam, they go into something called uh, uh, they go into something called BCA. BCA students who don't get into BCA go into something called BSc IT. So I was like at the bottom of the hierarchy there. But honestly, I did it because I never wanted to study at all. I mean, at some point of time, I was thinking of dropping out. Um, Reason being, I was taking on a lot of part-time jobs at that time as a UX designer, and I was always had this in my mind: what if I wasn't going to college? I could have gotten more or better opportunities. And honestly, that's something that everybody, I think, has during their college years is, ah man, I don't want to do college. I can do this instead of doing that, you know. And to be honest, it was great that I did go to college, because it gave me a drive to keep on doing what I really love, even when there was an obstacle in the way, so as to say, in this case. And that, from there I just kept on going forward. And design, fortunately, does not require a degree, in the sense that someone who has a degree will definitely be given a preference in a lot of organizations, in a lot of, especially larger organizations like the FANG organizations, Facebook, Google, Netflix. But apart from that, when it comes to you growing your career, it doesn't matter if you're in Google or you're in Bing. It doesn't matter where you're working at. It's what your team, and the product that you're creating. It could be the smallest product ever, but that could add the most value to your portfolio. And at Google, you could be doing the shittiest project. They could put you into back in the day, if they put you into Google Plus, that's the shittiest product they ever had. And if you were working on that, it would close down anyways. So what's the point of being a UX designer for such a product? But if you did, for example, you were a UX designer for Instagram when Instagram started. We'll take two examples: Google Plus and Instagram. Google Plus and Instagram, they both started being social media, wanting to be social media giants in their own spaces. And one failed, which was Google Plus, which was inevitable because they never had what Facebook ever had or what Instagram ever had. Instagram being a small startup, just starting up, just a couple of guys working on an application. And then it started to, mold into an organization, later being bought over by one of the biggest companies in the world. So it's actually adding value to your career is more than just getting a degree or working in a large organization. It's more of what are the little things that I can add to make something bigger, rather than working on something big, which is going to turn out to be something really small for my career. you know and it's inevitable to avoid it. You can just not avoid being trapped in this, because everywhere, if you go to a college, they're going to try and put you in a big organization. You're going to see a big name and you're going to say, oh, I get to work with this company, with this team. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't realize that is not where you need to go. That is where, if you want to go, definitely go for it. I mean, if it adds value to your life, if you're happy with it, go for it. But it's never going to give you the experience that whatever you work on personally, or whatever you do personally without the help of your university, your college, or whatever you're getting into, it's going to be so much more valuable than what other people need you to do, following a system, so as to say. So I feel UX design without a degree is 100% possible, and I think it's better because there is this the UX community supports self-taught designers, has started to support self-taught designers more now. So that motivation that we get being self-taught, being someone who doesn't need a degree or a certificate to get into the field, uh, we are often given a little more respect because of how we had to what we had to go through, how we had to go from, say, being a beginner to actually landing a job. So I think UX becoming a UX designer is always 100% better without an actual degree. To be honest, I think your video turned off.
Right, Puneet, and right, Puneet, and this is a great thing that you said that working on things that seem small, but maybe one day could go large, would also have a dramatic impact on the things that you could impact and the
Yeah.
people that you could reach. That's also something that I keep on telling the folks, that impact is not just the current impact, but the impact that you can make in future, and the things that seem small right now, maybe you'd be able to have some larger impact through that. So don't always ignore the small things, and try to evaluate how things might turn out, and go with that. So that is an excellent point. And along those lines, you said that you would not tell your younger self something that you change, or that to do something differently. So I'd like to ask, what are the things that you did when you were young, when you were starting out, so that people can look at your younger self from a third perspective. Like, if you are not trying to change anything, we definitely like to learn what are the things that you did when you were starting out till now.
Yeah, for sure, man. There are a couple of key points I'd like to share with your community. Is number one is, um, I I wanted to get out. I wanted to get out as quickly as possible, and what that means is I wanted to present my designs to clients as quickly as possible. I wanted to get clients as quickly as possible, and I didn't the learning curve around UX UI. I did not want it to hinder me getting into the professional space, because a lot of people have this notion that until I get good enough, um, I don't think I can get a client, and they are stuck in that bubble. But they don't understand that your one effort, your one talking to somebody or talking to a client could change your life forever. And that happened with me. I took up a project which was $30, and $30 is nothing. You make a couple of screens, you convert. And at that time I was also coding, so I did both the design and code for it. And for just $30. And I thought to myself, am I valuing myself well enough? But I said, just for this first one, because I've actually gotten a client, let's just do it. And for $30 I did it, and I was still learning. So I was trying to adjust the learning curve alongside my working with another client, so that the client doesn't get disappointed by the quality of work I provide, and at the same time I can learn something from it. So those $30 changed into the next client I got. That was $300. That was the first time I saw a couple of hundred of dollars in one go, like earning it on my own. because in a country like India, even though we are very diverse, we are now economically very well off. Unfortunately, students. I was in school, so students are never. If you're working in a McDonald's in the US and if you're working in McDonald's in India, it's a huge difference. If you're working in McDonald's in the US, you're probably paying off your student loan. You're probably trying to save up for something. Here, if you're working in McDonald's, "Hai Rabba, iski gareeb ho gaya," which in English translates to, "Oh no, he's poor now," or his family is poor now. So that mindset is unfortunately still existing. So at that time, doing something, going out of that bubble of mindset of, oh, should I start working now or later, uh, all that went away when I started seeing the cash come in. Often times when you're starting off something, you feel it's not worth it, but once you get the fruits of your labor, you tend to see it in a different light. And after I started getting hundreds of dollars for my projects, I was like, okay, this is it. This is what I'm going to do because I love doing it, and it is backed up by finances. I can show it to my parents or my grandparents, and they'll validate it. It's okay, and because Indian parents are a bunch of worried folks at the end of the day, so they're always wanting their children to be financially stable or independent, and that is what I showed them at an early stage, to the point when I flunked in grade 11 in maths. Like, I got 13 out of 100, like if you put it on a score, and that was pathetic. And my grandfather, who's an engineer, he was like brilliant in maths, and I always used to like take tips from him. He came to the school because the principal called him, and he sat and said, whatever he wants to do, if he wants to do IT, let him do IT. Don't force him into maths. So I switched subjects. I took the IT class, which was basically a bunch of students who flunked in maths, and that's the only subject they got after that. So all these little things, really helped me move forward and gave me that reassurance that, okay, this is something I can do, and that pushed me forward. Another thing that I really want to say is I met up with a guy. I've actually forgotten his name just right now, but he's still in my network. He's still on my Twitter and everything. And he once told me that the point which I stated earlier was, don't be a freelancer, be a consultant. He told me this one thing, and he said, if you make your own brand around yourself, if you formulate an organization around yourself, around your services, and then approach companies as an organization or as a consultant, you will have a much better chance of getting better projects than freelancer, Upwork, etc. So I really went for that without even thinking, because I felt that he was the kind of guy who could guide me, and he never really said, you must do this or you should do this. He just said, that is something that can be beneficial. And just those few words of advice kind of paved my way forward, where I was earning more than like senior level designers in college, like in first year college. And I was like, okay, this is, and the fact that I was always like a shrewd, business minded guy really helped me out, because I was always like, okay, hey, if you can't pay me this much, I can't work for you. That's as simple as that. And and at that time, I never knew who Chris Do was. I never knew who these top YouTubers were. I never knew who were the mentors out there, because I never was in this network. And at that time, getting feedback, real time, real human feedback, was so valuable. And hence I am here, from those learnings. Another thing that happened to me was, in school, somebody asked me to work on a website, design a website for an event. And They said, this is an event being hosted by the school itself, and we'll pay you this much. I'm sending you over an MOU, please sign it. We'll pay you this much. Everything was written there, fine. I signed it, and I said, everything is clear, I think it should be good. And at that time I trusted that guy, and it was just, I think it was just 10,000 rupees, which if we convert it into dollars is like, uh I can't even convert it into dollars. Let me quickly do it on my calculator.
$133. $133.
$133. Nothing much. I was getting more from freelancing than I did from like that one little project. But for me at that time, it was like every little thing counts. So I still did it, and I did it from, thinking that this is my school. I'm doing it for my school. I did it, and turns out he edited the MOU when he was sending the final copy to me. And since I had already signed it, I had seen all the details. He edited it on his own and put, instead of 10,000, he cut one zero out, and it was now 1,000, which is nothing, which is like what, uh, which is like $10 or something like that, $8, I'm not sure. So all the way from like $100 to $10, he just slashed out a zero from it. And when I went out I went to him for the check at the end of the project, he just said, take it from the school. And the school thought that they were only spending like $1,000, because the school quoted him $1,000. He quoted me much more, thinking that I wouldn't agree for that amount. And he just played me. And I still remember, like, in front of all the teachers, like, there was an amphitheater, and I kind of I ratted on him, and I said, this is the kind of guy who's leading your thing. Kudos to you and your school for and I literally showed the school how much money was spent where. And after that, the school was like disassociated from him, like for anything, because he was literally spending the money, only a small amount of the money, to organize the event, and the rest of it on drugs and shit like that. And I'm going to take his name. His name is Nikun Jain. And if he ever gets to watch this, he should realize that I know his truth. And he might rest in peace in his mind, but he's never really going to do that. He's always going to have that little thing that I cheated people. So that thing taught me a lot about money, and how everything needs to be on paper, everything needs to be finalized before something happens. So the next time I did business with anybody, I made sure money was on the table first, and then the work comes. So these are the little things you learn, and like big mistakes, small mistakes, that all teach you so much more than a degree. At the end of the day, that was like what I
How did
learned.
you exactly make sure that money was on the table before you started?
Ask for an advance. Ask for an escrow, if a business is familiar with that. For those who don't know what an escrow is basically, put the entire money into a
And
certain
also get the
web.
names of some escrows that you used.
So some escrows that I used back then, I did not know a lot of escrows back then. So what I did was, I even if there was someone in real life, I told them to sign up for Upwork and give me a contract through Upwork. Because Upwork has like an inbuilt escrow. I'm not sure which third party they use, or if it's their own, but a lot of banks have escrows now. That is something that I realized, that a lot of banks have escrow services attached to them. And a lot of let me do like a quick in the US, I think you can make like a separate escrow account. Um, but in India, in countries like India, it's slightly trickier. It's called escrowindia.com. It's as simple. So yeah, you can open an account with your like ICICI Bank. There's IDFC Bank. So you can open your own escrow account, which is separate from your main account, so that it gets directly transferred into your main account once the job is done. you know that is like It's like somebody gives you a blank check or gives you a check, a post dated check, and you can always put it into your account later on. So it's safer than a check, and it definitely gets the whole money on the table first job done better.
So just to summarize what you have said until now, you have told us that a designer when they're starting out, just get some work, and the money doesn't matter in the starting. Just get some proof of work and build out that you know get some people that you can work with, and build a proof of work.
Credibility.
Gradually you start increasing the price. uh, Somewhere along the ride, you'll get cheated. So after that, you'll learn how to
Yeah.
deal with money, and
Yeah.
do some contracts. But in the early days, it's okay if you just trust a person. When
Yeah.
when the you know stakes are getting high, you'll get cheated, and you'll learn how to manage things after that.
Yeah.
And when the things get serious, your parents also get serious, so they'll start taking you seriously, and
Yeah.
that's when you'll realize that you can actually take the path that you have chosen, and that will be when you get all the support that you want. And that's where
For
he
sure.
is right now, and I'm sure he'll do much more ahead in his career. And all the best, Puneet. So that was quite some good tips for the designers that are starting out, actually.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. I mean, a lot of people are afraid of starting out because they don't know where to. I just say, just start. You'll figure it out on your own.
We'll just call Varun, and after that
For
we'll
sure.
take some questions
For sure, man.
um, till we have Varun, we'll take some questions from Twitter. Okay, so the questions are, Varun is here. Okay, nice. You're fast, Varun. Hi, Varun.
Yeah, hey, man. Just give me a sec. I think my
Just
connection's a little poor.
it's
Yeah, I can see you now. Hi, Sumit. Hey, Punit. How are you, man?
Hey, man. I'm good.
Hey,
I'm
guys,
good. How
Punit.
are you?
I'm
I'll
great.
just
I'm great.
tell
Awesome,
tell
man.
tell
Thank you, Sumit. You are very kind. You have invited me. And thanks to you too, man. I have been following your design news playlist. That is quite something. Has kept me updated for a while. Please, please, please keep doing that thing. That shit
For
is so,
sure, man.
so, so cool.
For sure, man. I appreciate it.
All right, so I just give me a sec. Let me get. All right, here's the
Varun.
present now.
Varun, before you present, in like
I'll
15 seconds, you can tell Puneet what is exactly that you have designed, and then you go through the process
sure,
after
sure,
that.
sure thing.
Okay.
So I'll just share the screen. I'll keep it
Yeah.
on the homepage. I'll walk you through what the company's agenda is, what company is all about, what's their agenda, how they're trying to present themselves in the market, and then we will get right into it. Works?
Take it.
For sure.
All right, give me a second. Let me know once you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can.
Yep, we can.
Yeah, you can see the landing page now. I'm not very familiar with the Google Meet, so please bear with me.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah. So basically, Advisors Zaruriya is an aggregator portal. All right. They're trying to establish themselves in the market. They are trying to be an Amazon, but in terms of financial advisors. So it's all about they try to create financial literacy in the market, and their portal is all about you just come, you just probably enter your location is one of the filters. I know it's not that primary, but you just come, you just seek an advisors near you, which are SEBI registered. So that gives you an authenticity that all right, the person is sort of trustable and credible. you go ahead. There's a little glimpse of about advisor's profile as well, and then you can decide whether or not you want to go ahead with that person or not. So that's basically sums up what Advisor Zaruri is all about.
Got it. Got it.
All right. So keeping that in mind, I'll just go through the basic things that I've prepared so far. I've not established an entire website yet. They have an e-learning portal. The advisors portal. As soon as you click on it, of course, you'll get the basic details about, not the basic details, the card sort of a thing about the advisors, like how it's there in the Amazon, right?
Yep.
So you have got one small cards for all the product. You get a glimpse about the product, and then you click on it, and then you land on an entire product's display, right? The reviews, the description, the who's the seller, who's everything like that. So this is it. For enter your location and go, this is just one of the factors I thought could be cool, because everyone prefers to have an advisors nearby, or at least in the similar state. Of course, considering the fact that COVID has made everything virtual, but I thought still this could be something good to get someone started without even logging in. They don't have to log in to search for an advice. These are just basic 3 pointers to get started with AZ Edge. You have a CT over here as well, one CT over there. Then here are the products. As soon as you click on these, any of the products, you get redirected to the advisors who are professional in these specific products, along with other as well. But considering these, because since you have picked up a specific product, you also have a CT over here, just in case you didn't quite find what you were looking for. Here's a glimpse of their initiatives they have done so far with some numbers. Here's these are the companies they have tied up with for the transactions as well. So small case is a part of Zerodha.
Sure.
So just to show the credibility and stuff, here's to sign up for the newsletters, and here we reach the bottom.
For sure, man. This looks like, I think the presentation is great, man. Like I think you've gotten the content right. There's a little bit of feedback here and there I would like to give, if you're welcome.
Sure.
If you're okay with feedback.
Yes, for sure.
So if you can go to the top, I'll tell you like section by section.
Sure thing.
So right now, this page right here is quite bare bone, in the sense that it gives you a lot of a vibe of a wireframe than a final design, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. You're getting that feeling that everything is very white and pale, and everything is the illustration is overpowering everything else here right now. So, for example, I'll give you an example. I think the text and everything is good. You've gotten the hierarchy correct, which is your registered investment advisor in just a few clicks. And then you say, enter your location, go. So here, there is very little relationship between the enter your location and get a registered investment advisor.
Right.
It's not communicating what entering your location will actually do. Because when you say, for example, you go to a hotel website and you then search for a location, they ask you for enter a location, hotel, or enter a location or a hotel, or there are various options there. But right now it doesn't share. So if you could, if you push your registered investment advisor to the top a little bit, then give a small description above the enter your location, that will give you a better chance at getting people to enter their location. Also, if you could change your enter the location to an actual input box, right now it looks like a drop down.
Yes.
An input box for location is always easier. You can always give a solution around it when I'm sure you've used Google. On Google, if you say, if you start typing something, the autofill setting kind of comes down. Like there's like a little drop down. So you can always
Right.
make the drop down pop up like that. But if you make
Right.
this like look like an input and make it slightly bigger and um, more primary in this case, it would be like it will be great for the
Much
users.
better CTA.
Yeah, it will be much more valuable. Also, the
Right.
navigation, if you give a separator, if you for example, you give your navigation a certain color, it could be gray simply, or if you give your navigation white and make the other background of this hero section here gray, slightly
Mm-hmm.
gray, very light gray, you would get this differentiation between the navigation as well as the body. And
Right.
that kind of adds a little bit of definition to what is where.
A little distinction as well. Right.
Yeah,
Right. Right. Right.
yeah.
Got the point.
I think everything else is great. I think you've designed login register. It stands out from your other navigation items. Everything here else is fine. Just add those few adjustments, I think, at the end of the day. Now the second section, which is why AZH. I think the copy is great. Why AZH? Is there a full form to this AZH?
Oh, so the company's name is Advisor Zaruri Hai.
Acha.
So I sort of included acronym. We could,
Okay.
use the full form as well. There's
For
no
sure. I
biggie
mean,
about
it's
that.
fine. AZH is also fine. I was just asking for for my own thing
Yes,
here.
yes, yes.
So hassle-free registration, SEBI registered advisors, safe and secure. I think it's the content is great. That is what I'm liking, is that there's data for people to actually read, and it goes through like a journey here. But one thing that I would have added here is I would have made the text left aligned, all the text, the titles,
Oh,
everything, and made these into a card-like format. I'm not saying make these into cards, but turn them into a card-like format where there's separation and just three clean cards separated from each
right.
other, and that kind of gives you, because right here these are not like features. These are these are kind of like your unique selling points, that
Mm-hmm.
okay, we have hassle free, and it's very safe and secure, and it's SEBI registered also.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to make them separate, because they're not, even though they are grouped into one, they're not the same thing, or they're not.
Standing out.
Yeah, because one thing is talking about advisors, the other thing is talking about the service, one thing is talking about registration. So they're all talking
Right.
about three different things. So if you put them into separate sections or separate boxes and there's a slight separation, it will be like a nice visual change at least.
Right.
And get in touch, I think, is great. However, you could have added in that case, the button is fine. But you could change the text to something more actionable. Get an advisor. Get an advisor today.
Make it more personalized. Yes.
So
Right.
you've spoken about SEBI registered advisors here,
Yes.
and how easy it is to sign up. Now talk about how they can actually get onboarded. So rather than saying get in touch, you can say start with our service, or get an advisor today. And that way you can always lead them to whatever page you want them to. But in this case, that little text could be mean the world of a difference.
Right. But I think your whatever you're saying makes sense. It could act as a very good trigger.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
it's like
Right.
a nice nudge. कि अच्छा आपने ये पढ़
Mm-hmm.
लिया, अब what
Makes sense.
next? You know. Uh,
Makes sense.
but I think illustration. I love. I think you've taken this from Blush, if I'm not wrong.
Blush. Blush. Yes.
Blush K1.
Absolutely right.
If you go to the third section, I can maybe give you a few
Yes.
pointers. I wanted an advisor for. I think this is great. The representation, the illustration, again, Blush. I really like that. Huge supporter of them. Reason being, reason being, I spoke to Pablo Stanley, and we might be doing something crazy together. So, if you put the illustration on the right, and
All right.
you make a list of these services on the left, actionable services. For example, I wish I could show you something. I'm not getting anything off.
I think I've redesigned it, so I've got a previous copy as well. In that,
Can you show me
I
this thing?
yes. Give me a second. It should be here. Oh yeah, over here. You're saying something like this?
So yeah, of course, not aligned like that, like a
Mm-hmm.
zigzag. But if you put it as a little box, and inside that you have various options,
Mm-hmm.
and if somebody clicks on one of those options, you either give them like it expands to give a description, or it takes them to a page,
Right.
depending on what this
Depending
stands
on the
for.
yes.
So
Got
if it is taking you directly to a registration or anything like that, it's
Mm-hmm.
different. But if you make like one of those, if you've booked anything on Book My Show, you see, there used to be like this carousel, which if you click on it, the carousel expands.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting the word for it, but it's kind of a hybrid between a carousel and a drop down. You can expand certain sections, like you see in Google. When you search on Google, there is like certain questions. If you click on it, the answer kind of opens up.
Yeah, so you mean those the one that we usually put during the FAQ section, the
Yeah.
plus sign. You click
Yes.
on it, it drops down, it
Yes.
answers your query.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, got
Because
it, got it.
there are a lot of options here, and there's something called cognitive load. And
All right.
if there are so many options, it definitely is showing you what you have to offer as a business. However,
Mm-hmm.
you cannot take any action here, because it's by the end, while the person is looking at this rainbow of features, he will have lost his train of
Yeah,
thought.
exactly. Makes
And
sense.
this is very creative, don't get me wrong, but as from a user's point perspective, as well as from a business perspective, that might work better, like a little list of the features or the services,
Probably a
and
little too.
illustration on one side, one dabba here on the left, like that.
All right, right. Probably a little tweak could get me a better CTA, better
Yeah,
sales.
it's better. And here, rather than you can make, I'm a little confused, and and would like to go on a call. um you can just shorten this. You can always say, request a call back, you know
All
because
right.
these days requesting a callback is now the new CTA for talking about a service. When you're trying to get help from an organization, uh,
Mm-hmm.
getting help generally means you either want to request a callback or get on a chat with somebody.
Right.
That's the usual behavior. So at the end of the dabba, or at the end of the section, you can put a little CTA with a filled color, so that it kind of stands out. The
Stands out.
button is filled rather than being white. You know,
Makes sense.
so that way your buttons will be differentiated from your these items. Rather than saying, "Acha, all these are buttons," you can say these are drop down items, and this is a button separate.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm getting that psychological point of view as well that you're trying to make.
Yep,
You're
yep.
leading them to reach out to you instead of them exploring or figuring the stuff out by themselves.
By themselves. Yep, you've got it.
Makes
You've got
sense.
it.
Makes sense.
Now, if you move to the, I think one more section,
Yes.
initiatives, a quick glimpse of what we have done. So,
So over here, just to give
sure.
you a little more brief as well. So as soon as you hover over it, this entire screen will be replaced by something there's gonna be a little text. I haven't created it yet.
Okay.
So
Yeah, sure.
suppose as soon as I hover over it, it's gonna say that okay, we have done this and this. As soon as we
Yeah,
hover over it, we have done this thing with you.
yeah, yeah. Interesting. So, one thing I would like to state is that have you noticed that initiatives is now left aligned rather than being center aligned, like all the other
Mm-hmm.
titles?
Right.
That is something you'll have to remember on your own, is consistency. You have to, if it's like this, it's like this. If it's like this, it's like this everywhere. you know.
Right.
There can always be like a section where there are, like two titles, so you then place one on the left, one on the right. But if
One
there's
on the
just
right.
one simple title, you can always place it center aligned if all the other titles are also center aligned.
Fair
This
enough.
this here, the representation of data can be the difference between you getting a client or not. Is Right here there are like two cards more or less, which you hover over,
Yes.
and then there's information. Do these
I see.
cards change? Like, do they
Yes. I mean, we'll have an auto transition over
okay,
here, so it's gonna slide.
so
We'll
make
have.
one.
Yes.
Make
All right.
one. Make this like a one big card, rather than making two
Okay.
different cards. Again, cognitive load. Where should I look? Where should I hover over first?
Mm-hmm.
Because if they're transitioning both at the same time, these are like basically projects. Unless what you want to do, what you can do is another solution for it is just uh, just like I had suggested above, like little list of the services you are providing. What you can
Mm-hmm.
do is make one big image or a card on the right, and on the left have all the names of different companies.
Right.
So when you hover over one of those, the image on the right changes with information there.
Right. So, are you suggesting a collage sort on the left?
Not a collage, just a list of the companies you worked with. And once you hover over one of those companies, it on the right, it displays the image or the project or whatever you worked on.
Right.
I'll,
Got
I'll
it. Got it.
share I'll share a website that I was a part of a while back, was PayU. If you go to PayU
Mm-hmm.
.in,
All right.
uh, and if you scroll down, I'm on it right now. If you scroll
Just check.
down, I think it should be here in one of the pages, unless they've changed the implementation. This design that you see on payu.in is very
Mm-hmm.
similar to what you are trying to achieve here.
Right.
So you'll
All
be
right.
able to get a good reference point. I think there's some issue with the website or the internet.
Not sure. Let's see. It's loading stuff.
Maybe there's some issue.
All right. Nonetheless, I'll make sure to check it
Yeah,
from the
this
start.
is very close to what you're trying to do, because there are a lot of
Mm-hmm.
things in and around the website that, requesting a callback, and even this sort of presenting your, the clients that you worked with or the
Mm-hmm.
features is very,
All right.
very interesting. So you might want to, take a
I'll
look at it.
Sure thing. Sure thing. It's not loading.
It's
I'll
on
make
my
sure to check it out.
it's on my end, but you can always, check it out later.
Sure thing.
Um,
Sure thing.
So that is great. This financial, this is a good thing that you've done, is given these big numbers, because everybody likes big numbers, especially clients and potential people you're going to work with. So this is something. What you can do here is you can put this, you can push this towards the top a little bit, maybe a section before initiatives, and because this is basically getting credibility. If you scroll down a little bit, you've given the companies you worked with. If you go down, yeah,
Right.
end-to-end solutions, this is like the companies you're working with or something like that, right? These
Right.
are like uh,
So these are the companies that provide platform. So as soon as you have the advice, let's just say,
okay,
so we are trying to get in touch and associate with other brands as well, like Paytm
yeah,
Money and Grow. So
yeah,
we'll have a little icons just flying over here on the right. I'll just for the display, I've kept these two logos as of now
sure,
because we haven't gotten Grow and Paytm Money as of now
sure,
on board. But yeah, we'll have their logos over here. And
yeah,
those are the platform that once you have received the advice from that advisor, and if you wish to, execute it on your own, you can just go directly from here. Because
yeah.
since many people are using Paytm Money and Grow for on their own, so
Yeah, yeah. So here, what you can do is, for someone like me, I don't know what small case is.
Right,
I don't
right.
know what Mercury is. So if you make the icons smaller, because the icon, it's or the logo is just a logo.
Right.
And below that, if you like write like one line of or two lines of a small subtitle kind of text, which says
Mhm.
what the company does, or there is some sort of tooltip which once you hover or whatever it might be, there can be multiple solutions of what that
Mhm.
company is, or you
Right.
can just like give these small like blocks like squares, put
All
this
right.
inside that, and just have 4 5 of those squares like in a pattern there, so that you can have more icons in one place. And
Uh,
just with one glimpse, people can see the companies that are working with you to provide these solutions,
right.
rather
Right.
than an animation happening or more coming in later.
Don't make them wait.
Yeah, don't make them wait. Yeah, exactly, exactly. So this is
Makes sense.
but I like that the text is great. I think there's not much to do about it. Is this all this text is black, is 0000 hex?
I think it's about 80%.
Okay.
So it's a black 80% with an
Okay.
80% opacity.
See,
Yes.
what you can do is always give it a charcoal gray, which is 333, on the
Oh,
hex.
okay.
Charcoal
All
gray is
right.
like it goes with whatever colors you want to, but
Yeah.
it's
It's not
still
gonna
lighter.
go too harsh on the eyes.
Yep. Yep.
Right.
Exactly. You got it. And ready to get started is very nice. It's like a final CTA. It's like asking you, are you ready to get started or not? And this is a sign up for a blog.
Yes. For blog, for weekly market report, just to get the emailers, then you can always,
Okay.
retarget them
Okay.
because you have
So
their content. Yeah.
this could be, this final CTA. You could add the blog portion in either in the footer or as like another section below this. But
Mm-hmm.
here, if you've made it pop quite a bit, you've made it show you this ready to get started text. Don't lose the opportunity of making them register here or get
All right.
started here. you know
Mm-hmm.
this thing of email marketing is great, but
Yes.
it's not as important than getting on board before.
Hmm. Right.
That
Got your
that way you
point.
can
Got your point.
prioritize like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Makes sense.
everything else looks good. I think you've chosen great colors. Just the little bit I was talking about, the bare bone look. You can always spice it up with a color background, or gray color background, or a very light purple,
Right.
because theme is purple.
Right. And the logo as well as a little bluish sort. It's a
Yeah, you
blend of
can you can
purple
work
and
with
blue.
colors, you can work with backgrounds, you can work with some sort of images or video.
Mhm.
It breaks. We call it visual breaks.
Yeah.
Is the user shouldn't get bored while scrolling. So some कुछ अलग होना चाहिए,
Kuch masala.
कुछ
MDH
मसाला
masala
होना
such
चाहिए.
such.
बीच बीच में
Okay.
मसाले डाल दो.
All right.
That's but great work, man. Well done. Like
Thanks.
layout and
Thanks.
everything was nice. I like the layout and
So
everything.
is that enough to now use a UX UI designer on my LinkedIn profile, or I have to wait more?
No, no, you could use it even before doing anything. There's no restriction. You can do whatever you like, man. But वही है कि just this. I'm glad that you're taking feedback, positively, because it'll help you out in the
Yes.
long
Yes.
run
Yes.
a lot. And check out PayU, because I'm one of the
Sure
designer.
thing.
I was one of the designers for this website. But apart from that, it was also we worked very deeply with a lot of financial clients. So it kind
Yeah.
of goes alongside your, what you are
No, I
working on.
got you. I got you.
It kind
I'll
of,
make sure to check it out.
yep, yep, exactly.
Right.
Great work,
So
man.
that
It's great going, man. Great going.
thanks.
Hope,
Thank you so
hope,
much,
hope to
man.
see,
That was
hope to
awesome.
see this final design coming up soon.
Sure thing. I'll make sure to slide in a cold DM as well in
Yep,
your,
yeah, for sure, for sure, man.
Are you looking for an advisor?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Thanks, man. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it. Thanks, Sumit, for this.
No
Appreciate
worries.
it,
Thank you,
man.
Puneet. And that was quite a detailed feedback from for Varun. I'm
Yes.
sure he'll
Yes, I've taken
what
notes.
one of
Yes.
Varun, act on that feedback and send the updated designs to me, and I'll send it to Puneet. And
Sure thing. I'll
you can back
be
off from
working
him.
on it right away.
He's
I'll
given
get
you a
into
lot
it
of his
right away.
time. His time is very valuable.
नहीं नहीं अरे इतना भी कुछ नहीं है संडे को वेले होते हैं यार सब लोग
Okay, Varun.
All right.
Thank you.
I'll leave
Thank
you
you.
guys now. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Bye.
Have a nice evening, man. You too.
So Puneet, we have about 14 questions, and how much time do you have, and how many questions can we take?
I mean, depends on the questions. You can start with the questions and we'll see.
Okay, we'll take a question from each of the everyone.
I think Varun's video is like still there on my.
It will go away eventually. It has gone away from mine.
Acha.
Yeah.
Acha.
So we'll take a question from Likit. Likit asks how to get started with UX job search.
UX job search. Okay. So first of all, this is without context. I can't give you a lot of where you should start from.
So I'll give you some context.
Okay.
So Likit is has a portfolio, and he has some designs with him, and he's looking to get a job or get an internship at an organization that he can learn from, and that's pretty much it. He's good.
Okay, so that's great. I think the best place is to go to LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is full of power tools. If LinkedIn was a real life object, it would be a handyman's garage, because literally there are power tools you can use to jump from one position to another position like this. So LinkedIn search has this very interesting thing. You can just search for a few keywords like looking for UX designer, and and there are options on the top which says post. If you click on posts, it will show you all the posts with those keywords. And if there are people who are looking for remote or whatever you are looking for, depending on that, you just you see people who are accepting DMs rather than just people who are accepting emails, because there are people who give you emails, and on those emails it's full of portfolios, so you will probably get lost there. But if they are open to DMs, DM them directly, show them your portfolio, make it quick, make it worth their read to read through your portfolio and everything. And that is a good chance that you'll at least get into a round 2 rather than just sending emails. So apart from that, I think there are a lot of other platforms, like even Behance. You can keep posting stuff on Behance, and eventually there's a good chance that people will look at it and want to recruit you for a job or a consulting position. Then also I have, if everyone goes and follows me on LinkedIn, they just search my name, they'll find me. I did a carousel of some really cool tools to help you get a job apart from the usual ones. So you can try out those out of the box tools, and there are a lot of websites where there's not a lot of population of people going there, so you have a better chance of standing out there than in a place where there are thousands of applicants. So you have to see where you can stand out more, and in these scenarios you can definitely stand out more. So I think that's my 2 cents on finding a job faster and easier.
Definitely. We will take the next question, and it's from Varun, the guy who presented you, and he asked that take on imposter syndrome and a basic approach to look at it. I guess we'll change the question right now. How do you look at other designs and contemplate it enough to get inspiration, at the same time remind yourself not to compare yourself with others? It's related to imposter syndrome, I guess.
Imposter syndrome, for sure. So this is something that everyone has, like at any position in life. You can be a You could be a head of design of a major company, you could still get imposter syndrome. So I feel to get over imposter syndrome and to look at other people's design from a perspective is to always see other people's designs for, to see, to look at solutions for things, to look at solutions for a problem. You're stuck somewhere and you want to get out of it. You can always look at how can this be done differently, or how, or what are the other ways of doing this. Don't look at other people's designs in the sense of, oh, his designs are better than mine, because every designer is, if design is subjective, then designers are also subjective in the sense that they're all different. Every designer has some niche they're better at. They could be better at that as compared to you. You could be better at something as compared to them. So I think if you just have that mindset, ke, I am the best in what I am doing, then I think you're good. Otherwise, you keep on comparing your designs to someone else, and in a matter of some time, your design will start looking like other designers. You know,
Right.
so that's how I would do it.
Definitely. And we'll take a question from Ullas, and he asks, as a single UX designer working under a PM in product-based startup, what are some essential skills to have? My goal: get a firm grasp of UX process and establish somewhat of a thought leadership within the organization. Any insights on how do I translate? Okay, it's a second question. So basically, the thought leadership question is for Ullas.
Could you repeat like the actual question, like the crust of the question
What are
here?
the some essential skills to have? His goal is to get a firm grasp of UX
Okay.
process and establish somewhat of a thought leadership within the organization. He works in as a PM, under a PM in a product-based startup.
Yeah, much like a lot of us, like 99% of people who are working in the design industry are working for to create a product at the end of the day, unless you're working for like a SaaS. And even then, like, you might be working on an actual product, so in any case, I think the essential skills you should have, whether it be for product or service, is number one, it should always be uh, argue better. A lot of product managers try to push their thought processes or their way of doing something onto you, even if they are not a designer. And at that point, you must keep your calm and try to explain to them in a good way, that in a effective way, and say, hey, I am a designer. I This is the research that we have done, and this is based on research. If you want to take out a product that doesn't work for the users, then it's going to be on you. I can do it, I can implement this, but for a better product, we suggest as designers that you should try this. We can try this as an experiment. If you feel this isn't working out, we'll change it according to your way, and that way none of you have to get into a fist fight. So basically, you have to be able to put your point across better, because that is what happens with PMs. Second thing is to always get involved. As UX designers, you can't just wait for the PMs to bring you data, or for them to bring you the instructions on what to do next. You have to take initiative, and you have to be spontaneous and say, hey, what is this? What is that? Ask questions. These are the little things you can do to show spontaneity. And in that sense, you can always be more involved with the product management part of things as well. So in the future, you'll have an easier time becoming a product designer. Evolve from a UX UI to a product designer. In that sense, so I think those are like some of the skills I would say, to try and gather. Other things, I think you always eventually learn and gain from experience.
Definitely, Puneet. And Ullasams has some other questions that are really, really good, but I'll cover other people's questions first. Like
For
at
sure.
least get other people at least one question, and then
I have I have 10 more minutes, so we'll take as many as we can in
yeah,
those.
just covering as many people as we can.
For
So
sure.
for Dinesh asks that. Let me try to get his best question. Like he's a freelancer right now, and he most of the clients are from Fiverr, and he also tried on Upwork, but not getting anything from there. Any tips on how can I get my Upwork up and running?
Okay, this is interesting because the thing is, of course, I haven't been on Upwork for a while now, a few years now. But when I was there and I wasn't getting clients, the easiest way is to always give a lower quotation than other designers are giving. You can't say I'm, unless you are exceptional, unless you are someone whose designs are great, and better than everyone else's on the table, it's hard for you to negotiate a higher price. you know so always, if you want to start on Upwork, you have to start from scratch. You can't say I'm great on Fiverr, so I can do the same on Upwork. Often that is what we think is, if we got results here, we'll get results here as well. So on Upwork, it's a thing of time. It's how many proposals you can submit and how many quality proposals. A lot of times what happens is, on Fiverr, it's smaller projects unless it's a big one. And Upwork, it's generally proper, like projects and work, like requirements for certain things, for certain specific companies, organizations, or apps. So make sure before you're writing a proposal, you check out their product, you check out their website or whatever there is, and see their background. And that way you can, when you are talking to them or when you're sending a proposal, you can say, hi, I saw that you are working on a financial application. I worked in finance before, and I think I can add more value to the application, being a designer who has worked with the financial client before. So that way you can, you're funneling the people who you should be working with. So if you've on Fiverr, you got a client who, for example, wanted an app for fitness, like a fitness app. And so try and find fitness or health apps on Upwork, people who want fitness or health apps being made or built on Upwork. And there you can say, okay, I did this for this person, and I think I can do the same for you. That way, again, as I said, you'll stand out, because maybe there are 100 designers who submitted their proposals, but only 5 of them ever made a fitness application before. So that adds a lot of value. That is why you won't see a chef becoming a Formula One driver. You will see a chef going to become a cook or a chef in another restaurant, or becoming a chef in a hotel. Wherever he goes, he could go to a dhaba, which is basically a street food joint. He could go to a restaurant. He could go to a hotel. He could literally go to a Michelin star restaurant and get a job there, but he'll always be a chef. He won't try to be a waiter. He won't try to be maybe a server, or he won't try to be a cleaner, or whatever other areas there are in a restaurant. So follow that rule and say, okay, I'm good at making a fitness app. I should use it for this guy also. That should help a little bit, I guess.
Definitely, Puneet. And that was quite an insight. Let's try to do a rapid fire with the rest questions, like in
For sure,
30
for
to
sure.
45 seconds. I'll just ask the questions and you can try to answer in a rapid fire sense, and then
Yeah.
we'll probably be able to cover more questions.
For sure.
There's not a lot, but yep. So
Go ahead.
let's start with Likit, and some tips on converting Figma design to code.
I'm going to do a video, so you have to wait for that.
There's a video coming, so that's awesome. How to build contacts in the design world. Rapid fire.
Put out content. Put out more content. People appreciate content more than just cold messages in their DMs. So put out content. People who relate with that content will be able to connect with you, and that way you can build a name in the community.
Which platform?
LinkedIn is good. LinkedIn is better than Instagram, to be honest. A lot of people think Instagram is valuable, but LinkedIn, I feel, is better.
Content on LinkedIn. Is interning for a company without a design team worth it?
Without a design team,
Yep.
Sure, depends on the kind of opportunities you're getting. If you don't get any other opportunities, go for it. But if you get an opportunity in an organization with a design team, then obviously choose that over anything else.
Okay, cool. And from Ulas again, any insights on how do I translate user research findings into actionable features for a mobile app?
For that, you have to do a lot of card sorting. You have to do a lot of you should follow the design thinking process, where after you've gotten the data and done the research, you start ideating. And under ideation, you have a lot of stuff that you can do is to do brainstorming and to do a lot of card sorting activities where you say, okay, these are the problems. What are the possible solutions for this? You can always see what the comparators are doing. The comparator analysis, we get to know a lot from that, and see what other apps are missing, what's missing in other apps, and how you can build a better solution for something. So there are a lot of ways you can do that. And even if you're alone as a designer, you're just working on a personal project, you can still do that, because all it takes is a notepad and a pen, or in case you're a techie, it could just be an iPad and an Apple Pencil. So just start putting out solutions, and whichever you think will work best, or whichever you want to experiment with, make sure they pass a good usability score, as well as they are able to give you the results that you are looking out for.
Right. And the next question from Ulas is, while building a portfolio, what kind of case studies would you be more appealing for a recruiter? I feel redesign of a banking app would be more appealing than designing, say, a pet adoption app. Thoughts?
So basically, it's like being a UX designer, you can work on multiple projects. I feel work on projects don't. I think redesigning is never the best option. I feel design everything from scratch, like build your own product, build your own solutions. That gives you much more credibility, because if you say you do a redesign for a food ordering app, okay, or whatever, finance or whatever, and that food ordering app is there in the market, there might just be like two other food ordering apps, that's it. But if you build a food ordering app on your own, you have a better chance of being in the limelight as compared to if you just redesigned. So redesigning, I think, is not the best option to go with. But if you want to redesign, don't redesign thinking that that company or that kind of company will hire you. There's always an advantage, but it's not 100% surety. There's no surety in that.
Right. And the next question from Dinesh is, if my portfolio is unique and interactive as in you can interact with the portfolio.
Yeah.
And then do I have better chances of getting a job or big clients?
Totally depends on the client. The clients look for a lot of things. They could look for, okay, we're working with, for example, you get into a design studio. Those design studio is working with a banking application. You made a banking app on a case study through your portfolio. Then they will put you on top. Just like I said for the freelancing situation, same thing happens with the real world, like job situations as well. But just go for it. I think don't think too much. Just put it up on Behance and that's it. There's nobody who's saying, okay, even if you make a game out of your portfolio, it won't give you any advantage. It can be as static as possible, but if your designs are worth it, it's gonna go.
And 30 seconds for each question. 4 questions left.
For sure.
Any tip? It's by Ullas. Any tips on increasing empathy? I feel like I am not always able to think from a user's perspective, or during user interviews. I'm only listening to surface level issues, right? And I'm not able to think or venture deeper. So, any
So you have to get into their shoes, and the best way to do that is to observe more. If you're just sitting in an interview, it won't work out. One thing that a lot of UX researchers, just who do research only, do is actually go to that person's workplace, or that person, wherever that person is using a certain product, or having certain problems at. and you go there, you see their entire day in the life kind of situation, and there you will have a better idea of what is actually going on. And so if you ask someone who's lived in a hotel before about how they booked the hotel online, that will only give you surface level answers. They can't show you a documentary of what they did. So in those cases, you will literally have to go on a trip with somebody who is looking to go on a trip, which is not possible every time, but that's the only way.
In these time, how do you adopt balance
I
between
think
that?
become your user then. Become your user. I mean, if you want to make a food delivery application of sorts, you start ordering food more often, and you see what are the problems. You see if you can't empathize with them, become them. And then maybe you can empathize
Correct,
with them.
correct.
So that's a little tip.
Excellent, excellent advice. And three more questions. Like, how much of a role a portfolio plays in getting a job or gig? I guess a lot. Be-
How much is a what?
How much of a
I didn't
role
get.
a portfolio plays in getting a job or a gig?
Uh, I think the most.
Yep.
Your resumes are now useless. Okay, I won't call them useless, but they're not as valuable.
Right.
But apart from that, I think portfolios are very valuable, and you should always go for it.
Right. Final questions. Final stretch. How much scope is there for UI UX in India right now, and how long will it last?
The scope is really good now after the pandemic, because now more organizations are coming up because of new demands. There's someone on my door. I'm going to get this. And it's strange.
Please do it. So meanwhile, I'll answer your question, Dinesh. Like, how has the scope for UI UX in India, and how long will it last? It seems like people are starting to get more interested in design.
Apologies.
And
Yeah. So where were we? So basically, you have to look at a portfolio as a pitch, and your resume is basically the first email. If you take it as a business proposal, your resume is literally an email, and your portfolio is the entire pitch. So portfolio is like a deal breaker. So make sure your portfolio is great. Resume can suck, but if your portfolio is great, it gives you that ace.
right. And the last question is: books or courses you suggest for better UX learning? Like
Go to smashingmagazine.com. I think it's .com or whatever it is. Just go to Smashing Magazine, and they have a library of books covering every topic in UX, everywhere from usability to how to make people click, and how to create better UIs. Everything is there. I think that one library you should follow rather than just one book or two books.
Thank you, Punit. And any final words for your people from your channel, or who might be watching or may watch next time, or designers around the world? Like final words for UX.
I think my parting words in this case would be, this is very cliche, and Nike already has it, but just do it. Just forget what other people will think. Put out your designs. Forget what a client will think. Ask him for more money. Forget what designers will think, and design something out of the box. Forget what the product manager will think, and design a better solution based on real data. And these are you just have to forget how other people are influencing your designs or your career. You have to see what you can do best to bring a change in your career, in yourself, in somebody else's product, whatever it might be. And also, you should go and you should subscribe to this channel you're watching this video on, and you should keep on watching their videos. And you should also connect with me on LinkedIn. You just search my name and you'll get it.
Definitely, Puneet. Thank you for that. And so Puneet has been an awesome person, and I can't thank enough for how short of a notice he came on this live stream.
For
And
sure, man. Like I appreciate you guys calling me.
thank you, Puneet. Thank you, and all the best for your future. And
For sure, man. And best of luck for growing this channel, growing this community to the next level.
thank you. All the best. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much.